All right, we are starting in 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for January 16th, 2025. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, I'm getting pretty sick of waiting. When is Nintendo going to reveal the Switch 3? But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa. Jan, how are you doing?
I, too, have secretly been switching my arms out to be powered and attached to myself by magnets.
It's the future. Magnets are the future, I've heard.
Yep. My hands will also possibly function as mice as well. Not computer mice,
no, just
but
shoot mice. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just run around eating all your peanut butter, little bastards.
Just making little holes in the wall. It's great.
Yeah, they're doing their thing. Switch 2 got announced. We're going to talk about that. It's, big news day. We don't have, we talked about all this stuff before. That's the thing. That was my original intro is, we got the new info on the Switch and it's all the same as the old info. But hey, we'll talk about quite a bit of the Switch 2, everybody. I will make Jan do it. But I don't know. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, Grubb. I have been spending a couple days at the SF office, a new studio in the works.
How are things coming together over there?
We need so many XLR cables, Grubb.
I think I got an extra one around here. I'll send it to you.
And then there was the conversation between John Luke, Kurt Indovina, Max Blumenthal, Jake Decker, and I of, should we drill a hole in a wall? Can we drill a hole in the wall? Are we allowed to do that?
Sorry, I heard the unplugging USB noise, but I think I'm still okay here. I think if everyone could still hear me. Okay, good. So wait, did the hole get drilled?
We decided we should probably wait for the office manager to come in and hire someone to do it.
Okay, sure. Let it be a union job. I get it. Yeah.
Yes. It's also it's very refreshing to have someone like John Luke around, because John Luke is exponentially so much more of an organized producer than I will ever be.
Yeah, I could tell. It's like, they got a lot going on up there. They seem to have it all just up in their head, ready to go. They have answers to questions. It's crazy.
Yep. It's similar to working with Emma, where it's like, wow, you're so organized. How I want to get like you, but I will never be able to. So I'll just fill in the blanks where you need.
Yeah, I don't need you to be that way. Our scattershot approach is working for us. I have no way of measuring that. I don't know. It does seem to. I'm happy. I know that much. But then when we do step in, they're like, "Hey, let's work with these people." It's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool too. That's fine." Yeah. Is it okay if we're still messy bitches? Which we will be.
You know, Grubb, for what it's worth, I think everyone else that we work with, outside of the core GB team, is incredibly organized and well prepared now that I think about it. And it's just us.
It's just us. It really is. And they're like, all right, now you have to go work with the giant bomb people. It's like, oh, we're sorry. We're sorry we're like this. We'll try to change. It's not going to happen, but we'll try.
It's like the group projects you get put in, and you got to go work with like those kids that sit over there.
Yeah, we're those kids. All right, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Switch 2, officially revealed by Nintendo. This comes from Ethan Gotch and Kenneth Shepard at Kotaku. After months of fan speculation and an outpouring of alleged leaks, we got to gaze upon the actual Switch 2. Nintendo announced the new gaming console with a short YouTube video showcasing the new hardware, which includes magnetic Joy-Con controllers, a bigger screen, and backwards compatibility with original Switch game. It also gave fans their first glimpse at one of the games that is presumably a launch game for the system, Mario Kart 9 or 10. Who knows what they're going to call it? We'll get to that here in a little bit. But yeah, this 2.5 minute video, Jan, mostly focused on the hardware, as we suspected, as we've been hearing from leaks. And it was a lot of the stuff that we had seen previously, but I'm still excited. How about you?
I'm very excited. I think if anything, I'm more excited for Nintendo to finally acknowledge that the Switch 2 exists.
Yes.
And they've shown off some things. They've definitely teased some functionality with the Switch 2, but now we can just speculate and cause more rumors now that the Switch 2 is actually out. We don't have to have rumors about the Switch 2. We can create more from here.
Exactly. We could do and now we can just do our own, make up whatever we want at this point. I think that it is overall exactly what people would have asked Nintendo to do. And I think at the same time, it's like, you always want to be a little bit surprised. The surprise is, it looks like the Joy-Cons are going to be a mouse, things like that. And that is, I guess, exciting, but that needs to be paired up with games and showcasing exactly what context you'll be using that stuff in. But overall, like the basics of, okay, it does look like the Joy-Con now slide into the side of the Switch and then connect with the magnet. And apparently, it's like you got to hit that button to pull it out now. And when you do that, it's like that's going to disengage the magnet somehow. So my hope is it's like before you do that, it's just locked in there very tightly. And I just want this thing to feel like a contiguous piece of hardware, which is maybe my biggest complaint about the hardware of the Switch. So like throughout this entire generation. So I'm pretty excited about that alone, and the fact that bigger screen, and it just looks sleek. I'm happy with it. How about you?
Yeah, I'm still kind of feeling out the primarily black design, but I do like that the original Switch Joy-Con color accents are in there, the blue and red. I'm digging it a lot. I like the addition of another USB-C port on top and on bottom, so you could who knows what moving forward with the Switch. But yeah, I think that bigger screen is going to do it for me, Grubb. Unfortunately, it's not going to be OLED at launch, correct?
No, it's not. And I was just playing the Switch last night. And I'm like, man, this OLED screen still looks so damn good. That is going to be a little bit of a frustration and a disappointment. They switched to a pretty good LCD screen halfway through the life of the Switch, and I thought it was pretty decent. As long as they can have a really good LCD in there, I will still be playing this thing and be mostly okay. But as soon as I get an OLED as an option, I will hop on that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it looks very sleek. I'm very excited for this. I feel like since Nintendo has had plenty of time at this point to kind of build up materials and get stuff properly lined up, since this was rumored to drop last year, I'm excited for the weeks to months to come in terms of games actually from Nintendo, third-party games perhaps, and I just want to see the weird stuff.
I want to see the weird stuff. Absolutely. Good point. It's like, oh, this was supposed to come out last year, but I mean, even before that, like this is clearly sort of an extension of what was once going to be the Switch Pro, right? Those rumors didn't come out of nowhere. Sure. That was actually happening. Nintendo pulled the plug on that for whatever reason, and they didn't scrap all that work. They're like, okay, let's take what we have with the Switch Pro, let's give it a lot more, and make that the Switch 2. So presumably, they've had a lot of time to think about what they wanted to be on this device in whatever way when it was once the Switch Pro, and then, having to amplify all of that work once it's like, well, now it's a Switch 2. That stuff needs to be even bigger. But they've had a lot of time, basically, is what I'm saying, to get ready for this system. Does that give you faith that the first year or so is going to be pretty strong for the Switch 2?
I think so. I think even starting this reveal trailer with what is, and we'll talk about it soon, but perhaps a new Mario Kart is a strong sign, because that might mean that they have bigger titles in their back pocket, potentially a new 3D Mario. Who knows what else they could have? Maybe a new Donkey Kong based off of some stuff in that teaser trailer from this morning. Yeah, Grubb, it's exciting. Also, I feel like they wouldn't tease the possibility of the Joy-Cons being able to be used as mice if they didn't have a weird plan for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be at least two weird games that take advantage of that. So let's get to all of that here in time before we move on to Mario Kart. Switch to name. That's definitely, this thing gets announced, and as with all things, people focus on the stuff that like maybe just rubs them a little bit the wrong way. I think one of the major things I've seen is people say, "Oh, Switch 2, that's very un-Nintendo to just put a 2 on there." But I think they're kind of past that point, and to me, it's like, well, it is, to me, it does remind me of classic Nintendo, because what does Nintendo do more than anything else? They copy Apple a lot of times. I know a lot of people copy Nintendo, but Nintendo's like, what's Apple doing? Maybe we'll kind of do the same thing there. So we'll put the I in the Nintendo DS, and now it's the Nintendo DSi, and that should indicate that it's more internet capable and has an eShop or whatever. And I think just numbering their very popular portable electronic device just the way that Apple does is very in line with how Nintendo operates. But I've accepted this. We've heard for a while it's probably going to be Switch 2. I'm like, in my head, it's like, well, I wasn't even thinking about another name. So when that was confirmed, it didn't even faze me. But some people, I think, were still holding out hope for like Super Nintendo Switch. Switch 2, does that bother you at all?
It doesn't really bother me. A little bummed out, if anything, but it makes sense. And the unfortunate part is that it really does paint the state of the world, that maybe Super Switch or a different name would be too confusing. So Nintendo thought it'd be best to just slap a big old 2 on it.
Yeah, in my head it was always, no, Super Nintendo Switch. People just understand because the Super Nintendo. And now it's like, I guess that was 30 years ago now, so that maybe it's not like, of course it makes sense to me, but for a new generation that they're trying to reach, they're going to be like, Super Nintendo Switch, is this like the Wii U? And they want to avoid that if at all possible. All right, yeah, Mario Kart 9 teased for Switch 2. This is from Alana Higgs at Nintendo Life. Folks, the Nintendo Switch 2 has officially been revealed, and alongside that, we also know we're getting a brand new Mario Kart. We probably could have predicted that, of course, and presumably this is Mario Kart 9, although that's not confirmed yet, but we did get a little bit of footage during today's Switch 2 reveal video. It's only a glimpse, but you can clearly see the graphical updates on display. I'll say, like, I don't know, it looked a lot like Mario Kart 8 to me. It doesn't look that different. Listen, Mario Kart 8 already looked fantastic on the Wii U. Like, it just, the art was off the charts. I thought it was fantastic. So there's not like a lot of like headroom for them to grow in that direction. I guess improved textures, things like that, although that wasn't super noticeable to me in the video. But I love Mario Kart. I'll take a new Mario Kart. I know Nintendo does consider Mario Kart 2 to be 9, so maybe they will actually call this 10 or give it a different name. There were some changes in there. Let's see here. We have the other story here from Andy Robinson of VGC. Switch 2's Mario Kart appears to be hiding a big series change. He points out here that Nintendo seemingly revealed it, blah, blah, blah. Perhaps the most significant change was hiding in plain sight. In the footage, 15 characters can be seen on screen at once, heavily suggesting that the Mario Kart 9 could expand the number of simultaneous players per race to more than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's 12. Significantly, the footage could suggest Nintendo will expand the player count even higher than that, because if you count the number of grid spaces shown at the start of the track, they have room for 24 racers. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you could have 12 racers at one time. This is saying 24. That is the kind of thing that you could do with a little bit more power, especially when you're like not trying to go full 4K, 120 frames per second. You have headroom for that sort of thing. So that doesn't surprise me too much. In fact, it's like we talked about that in our talk over. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I guess that technically would be a pretty big series change.
Yeah. I think it's I appreciate everyone analyzing the graphical fidelity that we've been shown so far, even with that little Mario Kart tidbit, but I don't really care about that, Grubb. Yep. It's going to look okay. I'm going to play this handheld. It's going to look fine. I just worry about the actual games, and adding or upping the number of racers to 24 is going to be wild. I feel like they're going to have to Super Smash Brothers-ify the roster, perhaps, to maybe throw in a bunch of or miscellaneous Nintendo characters, even miscellaneous Mario characters, even to pad out that roster to fill up, so you can have a bunch of different racers.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's a good point. So they had a lot of characters that you could play as in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when it was all said and done, all from the Mario universe. But I think my expectation would be like you kind of start with pretty close to that roster for this, and then if you want to expand, where do you go from there? And of course, they could bring in all kinds of different enemies and things like that. But players would be more excited about expanding out into the Super Smash Brothers roster style and having characters from other games. They did some of that in Mario Kart 8. Zelda was there, or I'm sorry, Link was there. Splatoon, yes. A handful of other things like that. I don't know. Could you race as an Animal Crossing villager? Because they had the level, but I don't think you could race as a villager. But yeah, they had stuff along those lines. But I can't tell if this one's going to be that, but a little bit more, or if they will go fully in that direction. The suggestion here, based on the trailer so far, is no, this is still Mario Kart, not Smash Brothers Kart, because it is 15 different characters from the Nintendo universe. As far as like what the game itself, it looks like, it doesn't look like Double Dash. It doesn't, the gameplay looks, hey, you're in a cart. Some people are on a bike. Things along those lines. They're racing on a track that looks inspired by Route 66, but with like the Mario Kart racing aesthetic, something they've had as well for a long time. I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly how, like, what is going to be the gimmick with this one, and it might be just more Mario Kart 8, and I'm okay with that. But I wonder if Nintendo will try to be a little bit more creative. It's hard to tell from this small snippet of footage, right?
We're gonna go off-road, Grubb.
Yeah, listen. If they had like a rally race in there, I'd be pretty okay with that. Villager and Isabelle were in 8 Deluxe. Thank you, Sean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of having gliders, we're just gonna go full mud runner, and then the wheels are just gonna get big.
Yeah, big muddy wheels. That's what I want. Let Donkey Kong go get stuck out there in the mud.
I know that we were all just speculating, but I am interested in Sean's idea that what if there are pit stops?
Yeah, I mean, I like even like a different mode like that is more technical in terms of like you have to think strategically about how you're deploying your racers or the carts they have or parts, things like that. That could be fun. I think if I were in charge of the Mario Kart franchise and they're like, you have to follow Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, other than expand into the Smash Brothers stuff and have characters from other games. I think my big idea would be make the single player mode a Mario RPG style thing. Make it Mario Golf on Game Boy Color, something like that. Have it be a story mode where you are racing in a Grand Prix over time, and you can upgrade your character and upgrade your kart, and your team can like get improved, so your pit stops can go faster. I think that would be pretty neat.
What if we have? I know everyone loved weapon degradation in Breath of the Wild.
That's a good idea. Kart degradation, yeah.
Tires.
Yeah.
The more you drift, the more you are wearing your tires out.
I actually love that idea, Jan. That would be awesome. Oh man, actually seeing them break down. Please do that, Nintendo. Mostly just so I could see people freak out. All right, yeah, we'll get more from Mario Kart here pretty soon, and all this stuff. We'll jump to that story real quick. Nintendo will hold a Switch 2 Direct presentation in April. This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. Nintendo has announced that it will host a Nintendo Direct presentation focused on the upcoming Switch 2 on Wednesday, the 2nd of April, 2025. Details on specific timing will be announced at a later date. They're also going to have a hands-on tour with the Switch 2 going around the world. It'll be in New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, Toronto. There are cities throughout Europe, Oceania, and Asia that will also have the tour sometime between April and, let's see, it goes through May. Seoul, Korea goes through June. But that could always be an example of maybe the system comes out and it comes out later in South Korea. But yeah, okay, so April 2nd, we get more information. Do you feel like we are on radio silence until then?
No, I think everyone is freaking out a little bit too much that it's going to be an absolute drought from Nintendo. I feel like there's going to be a small drip feed as we get to April 2nd.
Yep.
They're going to release logos. small tidbits, more little teases over the course of time. There's absolutely no way that they're going to be radio silent from now, January 16th, all the way to April 2nd.
Yeah, the original rumors were that there would be a follow-up direct in February about Switch 2. Now it's sounding like that February direct that we were hearing about, something that I had heard about as well, that might be focused on Switch 1 games still, because they still got a few things to clean up there. There was just a post on the Nintendo Switch eShop that it's like, hey, upcoming Switch 1 games, and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Beyond was focused heavily in that sort of thing. So they got all right, we got some things we have to do with the Switch 1 still. Sounds like they're going to do that in February, kind of settle all of that business, and then set themselves up to talk deeply about the Switch 2 in April. But that Switch Direct that is focused on Switch 1 games in February, while they say, hey, don't expect anything from Switch 2, a couple of those games might be and hey, this might work on your, all these games will work on your Switch 2, and some of them might have improvements. And there will be tidbits like that. And then they'll probably be doing interviews here or there between now and then where they have to answer some of those questions to a certain degree. And because of that, they'll be ready to talk about a few more things. But price and pre-order information now, it feels like, an actual release date does feel like we're going to be waiting to April for that sort of information. Yeah. So then that, Jan, that begs the question, when are we getting this thing?
Gosh, okay. April is when they're going to have the direct. You think August?
Yeah, so I'll give people a hint or a tease at the poll that we're going to have from today's show, which is when do you expect the Switch 2 to release? And the options I gave are April, May, summer, fall. So yeah, I think late summer, early fall is if it's not April, which I feel like it would be pretty rough to have the direct and then have the thing go on sale that same month, but maybe late that month. I guess it's not impossible. So it's okay, then maybe May. And then if it's not May, the idea of it coming out in June or July in the height of summer seems very unlikely. Now, August, still very summery, but you get on the other side of that, of August, late August, you're basically into fall. People are thinking about going back to school, things like that. I could see August, September as a possible release zone.
I think I'm in that camp of either very late April, early May. They're going to skip the summer and then probably release in the fall. The fact that some of these Nintendo Switch 2 experience events worldwide are going to stretch into the summer makes me believe that, all right, they're going to gear up for a fall release.
Yeah, the just as an example, the Tokyo tour for the Switch 2 begins on April 26th. So a late April release just seems off the table, very likely. That doesn't mean that. That's not a one-to-one thing. But to me, it suggests that it's unlikely. So, and when we start thinking about it, okay, the Metroid Prime 4, maybe they are going to be positioning that as primarily a Switch 1 game. And maybe they do want to just okay, we have Donkey Kong now. We will have Metroid Prime 4 in March or April, maybe. And then we'll talk about the Switch 2 around that time. Tell people here are some improvements you can expect or whatever, if such a thing is possible through the Switch 2 backward compatibility. And then we'll give you the price then, let you pre-order it, and you're going to have the thing in your hands later this, very late summer, early fall. That sounds like a plausible sort of timeline. Although, who knows at this point, because a few weeks ago, throughout the past couple of weeks, it's this thing could be out in April, and I fully bought into that. I was really hopeful. Now, not so much.
Yeah, if today would have been a longer direct that is planned for April, then I would have assumed that the Switch would have dropped in April.
Yep.
Versus where we're at now.
Exactly. Yes, and even if today was the reveal video, and there was something next month, February, that if that direct was going to be focused on the Switch 2, it's okay, yeah, they're setting themselves up to have something 2 months later ready to launch. We go 2 months out from April. That's where it's it's probably just going to go the other side of the summer and end up in the fall. Okay, well then, price, Jan. What would you pay for this thing?
$400 or $500.
Yeah, I think they'll probably end up settling in around 400. They always want to charge as much as they can get away with, but I think They recognize that pricing is a tricky thing with a device like this in this moment where people are kind of overly sensitive to companies trying to get away with as much as they can possibly get away with. And so if you go to 500 for this and it's the same price as, when the PS5 launched and Xbox Series X launched, that's going to be a tough sell and people will notice that. 400, they can, I think, pretty easily get away with 400, especially when you can expect an OLED, maybe an OLED with like extra storage at some point to come at 450. Maybe that's almost $500 as well. So I think 400 is what we end up paying for this device.
Let's split the difference then. 450.
Yeah, 422.99. There you go. Just a random number right there between.
There we go.
All right, let's see. There's some more tidbits here. Nintendo did say certain Switch games won't run on Switch 2, but what does it mean? This comes from Chris Scullion at VGC. Nintendo has reiterated the Switch 2 will be backward compatible with existing Switch games, but warned that not every game will be fully playable on its new console. Chris here goes on to speculate what that could exactly mean. Of course, people hear that not every game's going to work. What is that? Like, does that mean like some games just can't function because they are too much for the Switch 2? Is it using software emulation? Is it going to break? And it's like, that's very unlikely the case. What they're probably saying here is, hey, the Joy-Con 2 is too big to fit in Nintendo Labo. Like that sort of thing, because it's a bigger device. The Joy-Con had to slide into the piano thing for it to work. And not only that, the piano thing had to use the IR camera on the bottom of the right Joy-Con so it could see what buttons you were pressing to function as well. It wasn't the only game to use the IR camera. So it's probably those two things in conjunction that's going to keep just a small handful of games from working on the Switch 2, right?
Yeah. Ring fit as well. Like the Pilates ring, if I recall correctly, you had to slot the Joy-Con in. Unless they, I don't know, make a new ring or a new Ring Fit game, perhaps.
Yeah, they probably do that, yeah.
Does 1-2 Switch rely on the IR camera at all?
Yeah. For 1-2 Switch, they had the sandwich eating thing. There was probably other stuff. I have 1-2 Switch. I don't think I've ever played it. So
we should do that at Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, there we go. We can milk the cow.
Final farewell. Yeah. 1-2 Switch.
The 1-2 Switch machine is now going to go into the night. Sleep now, sweet prince. I think it's probably as simple as that. Not as scary as some people were thinking. And hey, Chris did say, they reiterated. This is actually, to be fair, they did say previously in a Nintendo investor meeting that it would have some backward compatibility. But them just saying, hey, those physical game cards will go right into the Switch 2, and your digital games will all just work. That is good news for people who had been a little bit antsy about this for quite some time. So there you go. Let's see. And then, of course, Joy-Con mouse functionality seemingly confirmed in Switch 2 trailer. During the trailer, so I'll play that again. At a point there, they put the little sheath on the Joy-Con after disconnecting them from the base unit, and then they begin moving them around with like the tail of the strap hanging behind it in a way that suggests greatly that this is a mouse device now. I think, makes sense, like as like a cool little gimmick that Nintendo might try to do. It seems like it's going to work pretty well, just kind of looking at it. And I think we've already begun speculating all the kinds of games that could use this right out of the box. Though Civilization 7 is going to be launching this next month, and that's going to be on Switch 1. It could just use the Joy-Con right out of the box. Yeah.
Just thought of the dumbest thing possible.
Please.
But I'm going to save that because Dan brought up the possibility of using these Switch Joy-Cons as a pointer in a Mario Maker game, and that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Honestly, if they just updated Super Mario Maker 2 to use this, I would settle for that. That would be fantastic. They probably won't 100%. Do that, but and I really don't know if they'll, because Super Mario Maker 2 seemed to like have support cut off because it didn't perform the way that they wanted it to. So in my heart, I'm like, they're probably not going to make another Super Mario Maker. But now that I'm seeing this, it's like, please do that. This would be an ideal way to make those levels.
Additionally, a Fire Emblem game would be really cool.
Sure, any sort of
pointing and clicking.
Yeah, anything with what do you call them? Cells? What's your thing?
Tiles.
Tiles. There you go.
Additionally, like a Unicorn Overlord would play very well with mouse and keyboard, or I mean like a mouse pointer. But Grubb, if you will indulge me here, everyone listening. All right, I'm upset because there's no watch as of right now.
Yep.
But we're all asking Nintendo to do something silly, do something dumb. Now, if you watch the trailer, when the Joy-Cons snap off and snap into the sheath, they kind of tease some mouse functionality. What if we're thinking about this all wrong,
Please.
Everybody? What if you race and you pretend it's like a tech deck or a cart in the new Mario Kart?
Okay.
So as you are jumping and shifting it around,
New Tony Hawk game. Yeah.
You are also jumping and shifting around in Mario Kart.
Tech decks, Joy-Cons being built into the Nintendo Switch 2 is what we all really need, I think. Absolutely. Give me that. I could do a flip trick with the tech deck like twice in my life. So I want to bring that skill back. All right, let's make that happen.
Instead of like you are holding down one of the LR buttons and like that is your acceleration as you are like shifting around your little mouse to race around on the track.
Yeah,
right there, folks.
Yeah, give it to me, please. Real quick, we'll go back to this thought from Imran Khan on Blue Sky about Mario Kart. He posts here, he says he has a thought. I wonder if Mario Kart 10 has a more open structure a la Burnout Paradise or Forza Horizon. There's no reason for the tracks to be this wide. Additionally, Rosalina has skis on her kart, which implies tire selection makes a difference with terrain. So off-roading, Jan. You might have been onto something there. God, that might be the kind of change that could be very interesting. A Burnout Paradise sort of like explorable world. And then, obviously you get to the thing and the race starts. Yeah, honestly, I want that now. Please. I hope that's what they're doing.
When the camera pans out and you see the starting line and then all the racers go out, there is like a dirt road that intersects with the main track.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I brought up also the possibility of like a Mud Runners thing. So I don't think Imran's too far off of what could happen.
Yeah,
I think we're innovators, Grubb.
Yep, there we are.
Nintendo, cut the check. Come on.
Nintendo, just listen to us for once. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you almost get the sense that this is one of those like open world games that has roped off this course on there. Like that's kind of what like that big Shine Sprite thing just looks like it's doing that. And you're right. Look, there's a road intersecting up there. Okay, yeah, I hope that's what they're doing.
Also,
I'm sorry, everybody. The wrong button. I hit the wrong button. There we go. I didn't put up headlines either. There we go. All right, go ahead, Jan.
Also, it's possible that the roads are wider because there are more racers.
Yeah,
right?
24 racers is a lot. Yeah, you probably do need to be slightly wider for that. But I want to believe. So
I too want to believe.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way of doing things. All right. Anything else from Nintendo stuff here? Nintendo will hold that. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. April 2nd for that. Trying to think what else could, other than Metroid, could be in that February Direct for Nintendo Switch 1 games. They could have other surprises. Maybe that's Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered finally come out there. I don't know.
Oh.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, they were working on that stuff. Oh, right. Xenoblade Chronicles X. That's right. They'll talk about that.
Yeah.
No, they've shot Wind Waker plus Twilight Princess HD in the head. Everybody. That's
Pokemon we'll learn about soon. It won't be in that Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, Pokemon Day will happen that month though. So yeah, and again, like the word going around out there. People credited me with this. The word was going around out there that all that stuff would be focused on Switch 1 at that Pokemon Day stuff. So yeah, it sounds like they got some stuff they want to clean up, and then April 2nd, Switch 2. For me, that is the hardest part of this. While I agree with you that there will be a drip feed of information, they will be more willing to talk about this stuff now that they've confirmed it. I think between now and then, they should have a investor report. Still, wish we didn't have to wait to April to get the real full deal here. But oh well, it's you're right. You mentioned this when we were on the talkover. It'll fly by.
Oh God. As Hammond of Texas points out, April 2nd is in 75 days.
Okay, actually, when you put it that way, that doesn't sound too crazy. All right, fair enough. 75 days, we will get more information. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's get to the other headlines, including $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6. Maybe. We'll talk about it after this. All right, as promised, we are back. Switch 2 news all rounded up. We took care of that. Let's talk about this instead. Grand Theft Auto 6 costing as much as $100 could help video game industry rebound in 2025, an analyst says. This is from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. Veteran investment analyst and researcher Matthew Ball of Epillion has released a gargantuan 219-page report about the state of video gaming in 2025, and some of the presentation looks at how the video game industry can possibly grow in 2025. In a section titled How Player Time, and Player Spend Might Return to Growth, Ball mentioned a variety of opportunities, including Grand Theft Auto 6 costing as much as $100 when it launches this year. The thinking, Jan, obviously is this is a game that people cannot live without. They're going to pay for this game. So why not charge them for this game a lot extra than you would normally charge? Because the FOMO would be too great. Even $100 would not cause a problem for that. The FOMO will overcome it. Look, yeah, okay. First of all, I don't want to encourage Take-Two. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. This thing can be the $70, which is already a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you're going to make so much from Grand Theft Auto Online. And then that doesn't even speak to the fact of, like, we're talking about the industry bouncing back. You're talking about one company making all of the money. This is one of the big problems with the industry right now, is that a handful of games make all the money. So the biggest game making even more of the money doesn't really help anything. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know Matthew Ball of Epillion or whatever company. It's also Thursday, but as soon as you read the headline, it became Shut the Fuck Up Friday.
Yes, it did.
Because, and also, you know what, Grubb? I'm going to start calling myself an analyst.
Yeah,
right?
You analyze things constantly.
Motherfucker, do you not know how money works? I barely do, but like... Charging $100, like you said, Grubb, it's not going to give Nintendo more money. It's not going to give PopCap more money. It's only going to give Rockstar more money. You dumb fuck. I'm so sorry, Matthew Ball. You're probably a very nice person, but what the fuck, dog?
Yeah, that's really what it is. No one wants to hear this. Keep these thoughts in your head. Well, we don't like... We know they want to charge us more. We get it. We don't have to like lay out the case for why it would be dope if they did. So yeah, I don't think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to cost $100 on its face. I do think they find some creative ways. Well, look, I think a lot of people will pay $100 for this thing, and that will be the early access version that you can get a week early if you pay $100, and it's the Ultimate Collector's Edition or whatever, the Ultimate Edition, and people will pay $100, probably that they might even charge like $120 for that thing. And if you can't help yourself and you can't wait a week, then you're going to be paying that tax on the thing. And at a certain point, I'm like, fine, whatever. Let those people who do not have patience subsidize everyone else. But I still don't think we need to make the base version underneath that $100.
Yeah,
so.
The people will definitely 100% pay the early access tax, but for the general release of the game, I think 70 is more than enough to charge, because Rockstar is going to make, they're not going to recoup costs immediately, but they will get, they're going to sell gangbusters, Grubb.
Yes.
And I can see a special edition launching. They're going to make a Game of the Year edition. They're going to re-release this game for decades and decades, and they will be fine. They do not need to charge $100 out the gate for the base game.
That's not even exaggeration, because we are a full decade plus out from the release of Grand Theft Auto 5. They've released that over and over again and found new ways to release it. This one, it's going to be entering a world where the expectation is to be a game that goes for a decade. That wasn't the expectation with Grand Theft Auto 5. Now that's the expectation. And really, it's like this could be 2 decades straight of Grand Theft Auto 6 if everything goes according to plan. Of course, they could run into speed bumps or whatever.
I mean, they could even frame it as, if Ogto points out, 12-ish years of GTA 5. I could easily see Rockstar spinning this out into, sure, it's 12 years of GTA 5, but we can and will reach 15, 20 years of GTA Online. Just because I'm not 100% sure how much of that experience are going to change.
Yep.
I hope they do change some of it for everyone's sake of trying to get into it, because I think you tried to experiment with GTA Online on a stream recently.
Yeah, a little bit. It was yes, yes. I tried to like just do one thing, and it was this Byzantine thing that I had to like do a certain amount of stuff just to play around with the mods that the community created. That is like officially part of the game, and it was confusing, and it was it frightened me off for sure.
Yeah.
So,
and I tried doing the same, and I couldn't figure it out, and I wasn't streaming it. I had plenty of time to get it done, and I couldn't do it.
Yep. And you're right. I like them having to sort of like have a fresh start there as a way to get new people in. Seems like that's something they would want to do, but and then at the same time they have this cash generating factory that they don't want to give up. So they have two things they need to balance there. How they actually pull that off, they have not even hinted at yet. So we're gonna have to wait and find out how that goes down. And in the meantime, $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6, please now. All right. A new Halo will be announced in 2025, according to a rumor. This is from Jonas Mackey at Game Reactor. In early 2024, 343 Industries was hit by major layoffs, but in the fall, they were back on track with a new focus and also a new name. They are now called Halo Studios and have a largely new management, which will hereafter make Halo games using Unreal Engine 5. In connection with this, it was also revealed that they have several new projects in development, one of which is rumored to be a remake of Halo Combat Evolved. Now, Rebs Gaming, who's someone that like follows the Halo scene very closely, writes a report that Halo Studios is playtesting future Halo games on a weekly basis, and that this means that they have come a long way in development. As a result, he confidently expects at least one new Halo game announcement this year. Rebs Gaming also points out that playtesting was something that was cut during Halo Infinite development, which bodes well for the quality of the game. In addition, the entire team, including new members, is involved in the process, or are involved in the process. Considering it's been almost 4 years since the release of Halo Infinite, it's definitely time to announce something new. Yeah, I think 4 years for an announcement, that sounds about right. Whether or not this is a game that they announce and then it comes out very quickly, that's probably unlikely, but announce it this year, it comes out next year. Yeah, sure. Jan Ochoa, what do you want from a new Halo?
Grubb, I don't know what I want from a new Halo.
I also don't
be
know.
Honest.
Yep.
I don't know. Co-op campaign from the jump would help me out.
Sure.
A lot.
I think that's very likely.
I don't know. Just throw Marvel characters in it, and then I won't stop playing it, I guess.
Yeah, I think, let's see here. Snacked in chat, Snackdad says Halo reboot seems likely. Yeah, it does. Seems like the right move at this point is let's restart the story, kind of change some things up, focus on the most interesting aspects of the lore, and go from there. I don't know what the appetite is for that among Halo diehards, but they sort of can't rely on Halo diehards anymore.
No, yeah.
They got to go bigger than that.
I guess we've never finished the fight, so let's just restart the fight.
Restart the fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do over.
Gosh, I don't even remember what happens in Halo Infinite, but it's wild to think that Halo Infinite was teased as kind of like that platform approach, Grubb, that this will be like the hub that we will build from, or like the base we will build from afterwards. And that Halo,
that was doomed from the start, because it like the tools they were using did not empower them to do that. It was too difficult to make that content, and that was the thing that held back that entire game. A game that I love. So I think it would have been awesome to see them be able to pull that off, and it was just never really in the cards. Now they're using Unreal Engine 5. There's no more excuses. They should, if that's the kind of thing they want to do, they should be able to do it, but they kind of have already played that card. So it feels like they're going to have to do something different here, which is why it's like sort of going back to ground, making just a big Halo reboot that's a Halo-ass Halo game. And, we definitely, God, I remember saying that the multiplayer for Halo Infinite was going to be Halo-ass Halo, and it was. But just kind of like even stepping back further, don't try to do the open world stuff as much as I liked it. Just make a cool Halo shooter that has some cool new mechanics, And I think you build from there, and then you can start doing experimental stuff again after that. Does that sound right?
Yeah, 100%. I would love for them to experiment more and not feel beholden that they have to completely preserve everything about Halo, because first person shooters in general, Grub, have evolved so much since the last time Halo was prominently placed in the cultural gaming zeitgeist. And I would love some of those quality of life changes. I want to sprint, Grub. Give me
Yeah.
a double jump,
Yeah.
even. I don't know. I really like the grappling hook in Halo Infinite.
Me too. It
Just
was
give me
awesome.
an unlimited one, please.
Yep. Yeah. Just make that like core to the character. God, making that big, heavy, dumbass grapple around was a really cool feeling. I do. There's some people in chat that are kind of echoing this sentiment of we don't need more Halo. Maybe Halo can just be done. And that, first of all, just video games don't do that. Everything comes back. Everything comes back eventually. All the stuff you think will never come back will come back. We're getting a Half-Life 3. No one ever said we didn't need a Half-Life 3, but we're getting a Half-Life 3. We'll get everything back eventually. And I think I remember feeling similar around the time of Doom 2016, where it's like, Doom, leave that in the past. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
That's old. We have Call of Duty now. That is just a fun game to play, and Doom just can't match that. So why should it even try? And that's what Doom was originally going to be. It was a Doom 4 was going to be kind of a lot more like Call of Duty. And then they scrapped that and came up with Doom 2016, which is a delight. It's such a good game. And I just think Halo can have something similar to that. It just, maybe the expectations shouldn't be that a new Halo comes out and it is the game, the number one game, the game everyone's talking about and playing, and it sells better than everything else. That's maybe not what Halo needs to be anymore. But something along the lines of Doom 2016, I think that's possible.
I could see a future, Grub, that maybe they kind of lean into the co-op or class-based shooter aspect a little bit more. Perhaps I would love the possibility of a Halo that's kind of like Star Wars Republic Commando.
Yeah, that's
like
not a bad idea.
You're a squad of Spartans, perhaps. Maybe you're fighting a space regime that has glowing orange eyes that and they're like, we're gonna kill Halo. We're the Halo killers. Perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they're from hell and they're ghastly.
Ooh, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down here. That's something. and then well, God, what's the other PlayStation shooter called? Resistance. And then the Resistance shows up. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. That's the third faction.
It's the third faction. It's the DLC. They hinted for the DLC. All right. Yeah, new Halo will be announced this year. Maybe. We'll see. Last couple of stories here. PC gaming continues to massively outperform consoles. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Sorry, I keep creaking my mic. In the past decade or so, PC gaming has continued to rise from being seen more as a niche way to play games to the ultimate way to indulge in gaming. Now, a new report from Epillion shows that the spending on PC gaming has eclipsed that of consoles. That isn't to say consoles aren't attractive or aren't attracting billions on their own. Last year, according to Epillion, I think is how you said it, and I like that better. Consoles brought home $18 billion, yes, when it came to spending. PC gaming, however, had a total of $30 billion. Of course, even combined, consoles and PC can't hold a candle to mobile's $80 billion, but that's understandable in today's gaming age. The report goes on to say that things like larger gaming libraries, the inclusion of early access titles, higher top-tier performance, and its ability to multitask among other factors are what draw people to PC over console. Yeah, I think the underlying thing, the thing that really changed it for most people is PC feels permanent. Consoles feel like, what? Even if they get backwards compatibility support going forward, do I really trust that the console space is going to be this robust thing that can support my library of games that I've collected 10, 15 years from now? I don't know. People have some skepticism about that when it comes to PC gaming, but not nearly to the degree they have that for console gaming. And I think that has just caused a shift of people who like to have big collections of digital games, and they want to go do that on PC now.
I think also, Grub, access to PC gaming has just become so much easier. Gaming laptops, there's an obscene amount now. You go to a Costco, and before they'd have like maybe one or two laptops that are gaming oriented, but now you go into a Costco and they have a whole fleet of different laptops, whole desktop setups. And I feel like with the uptick of streaming, there's also an uptick of people that want to get into streaming, so they will invest in trying to get a PC. Also, a PC is just going to last so much longer than a console will. And I think the thing that appeals to me the most is the access to early access games.
Yep. And that's a huge thing for me. Like, where it just feels like the next big amazing thing will happen, and it'll happen on PC, likely Steam. But even if it happens outside of Steam, it's going to be early access from some website somewhere, the way that Minecraft was all those years ago. So or even like Kerbal Space Program. I just think that PC feels more lively, more robust, more resilient. And as people begin, like the kinds of people we're talking about, the $50 billion versus the $80 billion on mobile. The $50 billion is people who are like, this is my hobby. I spend a lot of money on this. Sure. It's an investment. And those people, I think, are feeling more secure when they invest that money into PC these days. And even like PlayStation 5, right? That should be like, the most like, okay, this is going to be here forever. PlayStation, they'll just keep making PlayStations forever. It's like, I don't know, PlayStation 7, are they really going to keep doing that by then? Maybe they will. But in the meantime, it's like when they are looking around trying to decide like what kind of games they want to be making, they left Japan as their headquarters quite a few years ago. And it's like, we're going to make these global games that appeal to this global audience. And you just feel the pressure on them to grow in a way that it has affected what PlayStation is underneath. And in PC, it's just like this open field of all these people throwing games into the ring, and whatever pops off, and that's a different feeling for sure.
And this may seem silly, Grubb, but I feel like some people will swallow the pill of a high entry price of getting a pre-built PC, even because they see the appeal and how often games on PC, games on Steam specifically, will go on sale.
Yep. Yeah. And that's part of the culture too. It's like, yeah, you could save a lot of money on these games. You want to be part of the Steam sale. That's something everyone does now. So yeah, I think you're right.
And also, I feel like another audience that we tend to forget about is the MMO audience and some of those free-to-play games, Grubb, that are only on PC. And they don't require a lot. So you could kind of get an old laptop or a cheaper gaming laptop, and you're good to go to play whatever survival or MMO game is out there.
Yep. And if it's like even if you are a mobile gamer, you get really into Genshin and you want to play the upgraded version, you're probably going to go to a mukbang and play it on PC. And that's a possibility. Yeah, no, not mukbang. What is it? What is what are they called? A PC bang. Thank you. I always conflate those in my head. But you know what? I'm going to call them a mukbang from now on. You go to a mukbang, you eat a ton of food, and your Genshin Impact runs really well. Why the hell not? All right. PlayStation Plus adding God of War Ragnarok and Indiana Jones. No, not that one. This is from Zach Swisen at Kotaku. To kick off the new year, Sony has revealed an impressive list of games coming to its large PlayStation Plus game catalog. God of War Ragnarok and a Yakuza spinoff included, as well as Indiana Jones. Just, again, not that one. But don't get too excited, as that is going to be it's not the Fantastic Circle, it's the Staff of Kings. Here is the full list of games. PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium will include God of War Ragnarok, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, Atlas Fallen, Reign of Sand, SD Gundam Battle Alliance, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Anno Mutationum. Ooh, this is a rough one, Jan. This Mutationum.
Mutationum.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. That threw me off because Anno is like, I'm thinking French, and it's like, oh, that is not a French word. Mutationum, Orcs Must Die 3, Citizen Sleeper, and Poker Club. And then PlayStation Plus Premium will get Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings and Medieval 2. I'm dying. Yeah, I'm falling apart over here, everybody.
It's all right. We woke up early. We
woke up early.
Yeah.
Mutationum.
I'm still on mukbang, Grubb.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. They should combine those two things. You should be able to mukbang while you PC bang, I think.
Yeah, folks, just don't. You can lick the Switch 2 cart, just don't eat it.
Well,
all right.
Don't tell me how to live my life. Okay, we got a poll question. Let's get over to that real quick and get out of here because the show is falling apart at the seams. Let me move that there. Refresh. And there we go. Okay. The new poll question was, have you played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag? 66% have said yes. 34% said no. That's a pretty big number for people who have played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, a game that is reportedly getting remastered and re-released later this year. Now, of course, a lot of those people could double dip. I like Assassin's Creed 4 a lot. Might want to check back in on it. But a lot of times you see this from a game that is about that old, and it's like, 40% have played it. This was a very big hit, though. It turns out that a lot of people playing games have gone back to check it out.
I kind of am in Camp Lucy when she mentioned why not remake Syndicate, because that would be pretty neat.
Yeah, I hope that this leads to that. If this is what they're doing now, start with this one. Skip Unity, do Syndicate.
But at the same time, Grubb, stop. Don't do this anymore.
Yeah, well, they're not. That's not an option in their eyes. They're going to keep doing more and more Assassin's Creed. The reporting was, and I think they themselves said they had something like a dozen Assassin's Creed projects. Those included film and TV, but also a lot of games. But they had like a dozen in the works. So yeah. All right, we got a new poll question we'll get to here in a second. You know what? Real quick, let's check in on this one from 3 days ago. Is Switch 2 getting revealed this week? 59% of you were right. There you go. Be proud of yourselves.
There you go.
All right, new poll question in a second. Jan, what do we have going on the website?
Today we got another episode of Voicemail Dump Truck. If you missed it earlier this morning, we did talk over the Switch 2 reveal trailer. We got to do some funky stuff to the archive of Term Daninator, Reichert of the Machines. Apparently, we almost got a strike because that game just puts in parts of the movie.
Long, uncut scenes from the movie, yes.
So we're going to take a stab at that tomorrow, folks. If you've been tuning in later in the day, we've been hosting Jesse Vitelli and company's streams. They've been raising money for LA wildfire relief tomorrow. We will be jumping in the ring ourselves. We will also be doing a charity stream for those affected by the Los Angeles wildfires by doing what may be a very long stream that we were calling Bowser's Hurry. So I believe as of right now, Grubb, Mike Manani, Dan Reichert, maybe Turbo Sean if he's feeling up to it, will be competing and completing Bowser's Fury. Are we doing 100%? Or are we getting all the shines?
We're not. Yes, we're gonna play to completion. We are not gonna get 100 shines, that would be 100%ing it. We're gonna go to the end of the game, so credits basically. I think that should take about 3 to 4 hours. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe we get like a little bit sidetracked and the first person beats it like 4 to 5 hours. So that'll be pretty long on its own. It probably shouldn't take that long, but it could. 100%ing it could become a real problem if we try to find like the last two things that we just don't know where to go for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then next week, Grubb, next week's BCR, that's when we will be doing the BCR fantasy draft. And then I believe 2 weeks from then is when we will be doing best music of 2024.
That sounds right.
Stuff keeps popping off, Grubb.
Yep. Yeah, we got plenty. Honestly, there's like plenty of stuff happening on BCR for the next couple of weeks. Things that we want to fit in there. So yeah, we're shifting things around to make sure we could do it all. It's exciting. So yeah, everyone keep tuning in for the rest of this week. As Jan said, Voicemail Dump Truck happening later today, and I'm really excited about Bowser's Hurry, so you'll want to watch that. And of course, Game Best Mornings will be back tomorrow. On that show, we will have the results of this poll. When do you think the Switch 2 is coming out? April, May, summer, fall? Pick yours. Pick your poison there. God, I really don't know. I think if I had to pick one of these right now, I probably would go with fall. Which is a disappointment. I don't want to believe that, but I think it probably is the case. Yeah, listen, I want to get excited for May. Everyone vote for May. Maybe that's the case. Maybe
it's going to be May.
It's going to be May. Maybe I'm just being too pessimistic. All right. I feel the mutation taking me over, and I need to mukbang myself right now. So we should probably get out of here. Jan Ochoa, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talk about video games, man. I appreciate it.
We got to go catch our Mexican jumping beans.
We got to go catch our Mexican jumping beans. I love those things. Thanks for watching, everybody. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. All right, we are off of YouTube. Still